Okay. Oh, wow. Oh, boy. Okay. Yep. Another one. We know what that means. Yep. Mm. Here we go. Wow. Hmm. That's exactly right. As a matter of fact. Yes, they are. Okay. Yep. All right, folks, we are live. Yep. Just 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Trying out. It's all about trying new things. Or at least it is for some of us and me. Hmm. Good. There's Linda. Look at that. Look how terrific. Yes. I like that. Like that. Always a good sign. Folks, here we go. Road Patrol news. Or Road Patrol report. I don't know. I can't decide. Should it be Road Patrol news or Road Patrol? This Steve Evans. Les Hammer. Good afternoon. There's Amanda, looking beautiful as always. There's Ginger. Folks, share that you are watching. Yes. Is this? No, it is not. No, we're leaning heavily. Thank you, Stephanie. We're leaning heavily into the Road Patrol. So you guys decide. It's either the Road Patrol news or the Road Patrol report. One of the two. But we're going to lean into it. Getting the branding. There's Linda, one of our new moderators. We're adding people, by the way. We're adding people. The otherwise I understand it becomes a little confusing, right? Real news at noon, Road Patrol. So just I'm going to let the people decide. Road Patrol report or Road Patrol news? Maybe Road Patrol news. We'll see. Brenda says news. Okay. What does Amanda say? There's Lynn Miller. Road Patrol report sounds better. All right. Stephanie knows. I appreciate and respect her. Ryan says roadie. We're not doing roadie anything. I don't know what you're talking about. It's either Road Patrol report or Road Patrol news. I think the report. Road Patrol report. What we're reporting. Phyllis says news. It's either news or report. That's what it's going to be. And then report rolls off the tongue. All right. Road Patrol report. Hi there, Tammy. We're live in just a minute. Well, Linda, you're going to keep track and then let me know what the results are. Hello, Donna. Good afternoon, all. Bill says report. All right. Danielle's another moderator. She says report. Stephanie, Danielle, we'll see. Folks, you can cast your ballot. We're live. We're just waiting for Mr. JR. And there it is at 106. You are listening and watching the Road Patrol report or the Road Patrol news. Either way. But it is still the chosen one. I think we're gonna try Road Patrol report. And this is the Road Patrol report. Now, right now, it is 106. It's Monday. So we're making a little adjustment with the program on this Monday. Folks, there's so many dynamics happening, all good, all exciting. growth is happening. And one of the things we're going to experiment with is we're going to be doing this from 1 to 2 this week, 1 to 2. And then now the radio show is always 11 to 2. But this part where we're also visual is going to be 1 to 2 this week. By the way, not that I expect most people to remember that, but I'm just telling you, and who knows, maybe if we get lucky, more people start to catch on and they go from there. This portion of the Road Patrol Report is brought to you by PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center, 3688 Quaker Lane in North Kingstown. Now, folks, they have all of their seasonal, everything seasonal is available right now. Stop it and see them 7 days a week, and they're grinding it. And remember, now they have obviously vegetables planting. I just want to remind people that this is the perfect time of year to do some planting. It's PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center, 3688 Quaker Lane in North Kingstown. I share their Facebook page because you see the dedication, you see the commitment, you get an idea of, you get a chance to support a locally run, family-run business. It's PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center. Now, DePietro.com, yes, but you know what? The video we do have to get up is last night I spoke with the owner of the home invasion in Cranston. So we will have that video up. Many people watched it live. It is available, but we will have it up. Dino, the owner of the home, there for the home invasion. And remember, DePietro.com, brought to you by the Coesit Inn, 226 Coesit Avenue, West Warwick. Lunch, dinner, drinks, and lounge. They're waiting for you at the Coesit Inn. By the way, subscribers, we will be having a subscriber-only event, plus one guest, coming up at the Coesit Inn. It'll either be later this month or early next month. Details to follow. I will be performing stand-up. One night only for subscribers. That's it. That's not fair. That's right, it's not fair. It will. Whoever said it was fair? What is fair? Subscriber owner. I will be a rare appearance of stand-up, photo, whole thing, in free to subscribers. Now, there'll be more details to follow on this, but just so people also understand, I have a different idea of entertaining. So, and I love Nancy McCormick, valued subscriber, also occasional contributor to Road Patrol War. She has a different idea. My idea of a get-together is there's no sitting. Everyone is standing. It's like a cocktail party. You know what happens with a cocktail party? You float around, name tags, you talk to whoever, some light drinks. If people want to go out to dinner afterwards, terrific. If people want to have dinner beforehand, even better. But standing. Well, I don't like to stand. Well, then you don't have to come. But a party is where people are standing. I am against when you have a get-together and everyone just plants themselves down. Plant themselves down. The old Italian aunt at the wedding. You come talk to me. That's not happening. There will be no chairs or seating. None. For an hour and a half. If that's too long for you to stand, you don't have to come. Or come in a wheelchair. But a party is where people are walking and floating and standing. Not sitting. Where everyone sits. Then the problem with sitting is you're stuck to whoever it's like on a plane. You're stuck with whoever you're sitting next to. Not happening. There will be details along with some surprise guests. But again, brought to you by the Coesit Inn, 226 Coesit Avenue, West Warwick. 7 days a week, lunch, dinner, drinks in the lounge. They're waiting for you at the Coesit Inn. Now, as you know, we do Road Patrol Live, right? Well, as everyone's getting to know. And it is getting more popular. Well, it's not your imagination. And we've had, boy, what a string of 10 days. Talk about picking the right topic, which is crime, which I'm very interested in for a variety of different reasons. But I want people to know that it's evolving. and we are going into different platforms, and new people come into the mix. And just so everyone understands, listen, I want it to be as big as possible with as many people watching, and it is getting in that direction. So we're going to do more of that. This morning was a very unusual situation where I was locked in on something. I figured, hey, what would happen on a Monday morning? And then we found out there was a standoff in West Warwick. It was killing me. Well, a little dramatic. Um, it was bothering not to be there. It seemingly is coming to an end, and not a pleasant end, by the way. Something happened there, but I want you to know we're going to take. See, that's why I'm very reluctant to lock in. I just am on certain things because, and I try to explain to people because at a moment's notice, it's like Batman. They do the signal. You got to rock and roll. So, so going forward, as much as can. We do have some video, but it did bother me not to be able to be there. Know that, but we're gonna take provisions. I'm already canceling other commitments that I had because if something happens, we have to be able to go. But once in a while, you get locked in on something that that you can't break away from. If you say you're going to be there, you're going to be there. Such as there's certain people that if I say you're going to meet, I'm going to meet with, you have to meet with them. Or if I say I'm going to be at a funeral, I have to be there. There was a situation that I didn't go to a wake. I said I was going to stop by a wake, and then I forget what it was. We had a major incident, and then I feel terrible after I don't go to something like that because I'm all about if you say you're going to be there, you got to be there. Your words got to mean something. So nonetheless, there was a situation in West Warwick. We'll wait to get some of the details. We'll post as much video as we can. I want to thank Felicia, some other people, and I feel terrible about it. Now, I do want to talk about these standoffs and home invasions because it's not your imagination. So there was a standoff. So Friday night was a standoff. Last Tuesday night in Cranston was a standoff. Saturday night, home invasion. It's not your imagination. There is more of these going on. That is why I want to remind people, if I were you, if you're asking me advice, I am telling you, stop it and see George, Rhode Island Guns and Ammo, right there on Post Road, right near Cosmic Pizza, right down the road from Greg's. Rhode Island Guns and Ammo. That is my gun guy. I was just in there on Friday. That's where you want to go. And I understand there are people listening and watching that saying, I've never wrote. He will point you in the right direction where you can get all the proper paperwork, and then he'll accustom with what you're looking for. I can't stress enough the idea of having a home defense shotgun. That pumping motion, as George says, is the universal language of get the blank out of my house or business. Now, folks, as you're seeing, I think there's several factors that are going on. But again, stop it and see them. Rhode Island Guns and Ammo, and it's beautifully redone. Men, women, whoever, right there, Post Road in Warwick, right near Cosmic Pizza, and one right down the road from Greg's. Stop it and see George. Well, I don't know if I'm ever going to use the shotgun. And as he says, you have your insurance on your car, you may not be in an accident. You have insurance on your home, you may never use it. A shotgun, a defensive shotgun, is insurance. And you don't have to be a great shot either. Just the type you shoot that, boom, it hits a lot. Many times when we're out on road patrol at a crime scene, there's 12 shell casings, and whoever it is that got hit once. Operating a handgun is not as easy as people think. A shotgun is a different deal. Rhode Island Guns and Ammo. Now, a lot of people are asking me, why do I think, with what's going on towards these home invasions and these standoffs, I think it's a combination of things. I know in a variety of things. I'm not saying I have the answer, but I'm going to throw out to you some things because people do ask me. I did an interview on it, and I said, number one, I think COVID does play in a lot of different ways. We're still seeing some of the after effects of it. Not everything is COVID, by the way, but there's definitely some element to that. But aside from that, I want to remind people, Rhode Island, because I can't get away from many of the Biden policies and many of the McKee-Matos policies. Governor McKee and Matos, it's their policies. When you operate a sanctuary state, which I don't care what anyone says, we are. They even have a driver's license that looks exactly like a Rhode Island license. Governor McKee won't even say how many are being given out. So between illegals coming in, what does that do? It creates an aura of lawlessness. It creates an aura of lawlessness because no one suddenly is following the rules. So McKee, that's a McKee-Matos policy. We didn't have that in the past. Raimondo didn't give driver's licenses to illegals. Chafee didn't give driver's license to illegals. Governor Kucheri was, very strong against them. This is a McKee. You can't take him out of the equation. The element of lawlessness and the fact this is the General Assembly, that their, quote, driving privilege looks exactly like a license. And people are moving into the state because of that. That's number one. Number two, Governor McKee legalizing illicit drugs in Rhode Island. It's only going to get worse. Here, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Spoiler alert. A lot of these people that are involved with these armed standoffs with the police, whether it was the guy in North Providence, the guy in Cranston, Friday night, I'm not saying everyone, but many of them, the people are not in their right frame of mind. And you're going to see more of that. When people aren't thinking clearly and people are mixing some of these illicit drugs with medications that they're already on, they're not thinking as effectively as they can. And I think there is, to a lesser degree, but what's going on in Massachusetts, I don't think you can ignore the Sandra Birchmore case and the Karen Reed case that have people into the mindset that police are all corrupt, police are all liars, police are blah, and it's all negative towards law enforcement. And I'm not saying that is the reason, but it's not helping matters. It's not helping matters. If you have a guy that's in his house and he's got a firearm and he's talking crazy or he's already fired it and he won't come out and the police are outside, that's a problem. Last Tuesday night, that person fired at police and that was a free Karen Reed person. And so now you have a situation that if you have these people that are a little unstable and they are in fact, now they have this animosity towards law enforcement. Now it's coming out even worse. So again, I don't think there's one solution for it, but I believe, and I've repeatedly said to you, police continue to be under attack. Police under Biden and Harris are under attack. Law enforcement is, whether people like it or not, they're endorsing the Republican in the race for president. Now, I want to talk a little bit about what happened on Saturday night in Cranston. We were there. Commander Padalano was there. And last night we spoke with someone who lived in the house, who was a victim, by the way. And I want to be very clear about that, but was the victim. But folks, I want to take this portion of the program to remind you about AJ Home Improvement and Drywall. Call them today. Frame to finish basements, acoustical ceilings. They could build you a new home, additions, commercial rehabs, painting, remodeling. They do it all. AJ Home Improvement. Call them today at 401-323-9252. 401-323-9252. AJ Home Improvement. 401-323-9252. So if you're thinking of improving your home or business, maybe it's a fresh coat of paint, maybe you have an unfinished basement, maybe you have an unfinished garage, AJ Home Improvement. I share their Facebook page, 401-323-9252, and they are artistic with what they can do for your ceilings, which can make a huge difference in a room. AJ Home Improvement. Well, folks, good afternoon. You're listening to the John DePietro Show. Now, the situation that happened Saturday night, Obviously, tomorrow night is a very important night with what could end up being the only debate. I don't think it's going to be the only debate because I believe that the Harris campaign, I think they're going to get desperate. And I think they're going to want to debate again. They may not even realize it yet. And I don't know if President Trump will debate her, but we'll touch on that. That is tomorrow night. And as I have said in the past, I think it's interesting, and it's not a bad thing that in 2024, with all the technology and mass media, blah, 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 what voters value is the ability for an individual to come out onto a stage, be questioned, unrehearsed, and be able to answer and defend their policies. It was big with Abraham Lincoln, and it's still big now. And as I have said, I don't think it's bad for the process that who the next leader is decided by their ability to do that. And I also recognize sometimes the smartest person is in the room is not, maybe not the most charismatic, maybe not the best orator, but in that type of position, you're not talking about just being the CEO of a company. You need someone we need leadership. What's lacking from Rhode Island right now is leadership. Well, there's no leadership. There's no guy. There's no one that steps up and says, I'm in charge. I mean, they kind of do, or they pretend to, but it's all like phony, right? Like McKee, there's going to be a day of reckoning. People are going to be held accountable for the bridge, but then no one's held accountable for the bridge. I mean, it's not your imagination. Governor McKee, through his lack of a backbone, with the incompetent people he surrounds himself with, he is certainly digging the state into a hole that I'm not convinced that it's not going to be easy to pull out of and climb out of. It's not impossible. Nothing is, but it would take something very, very dramatic for that to happen. But in talking about what happened Saturday night, and for those of you, I will post it on depetro.com. If you heard the conversation I had last night, when they reached out to me, the owner of the home, and one of his parents, his mom, and I'm going to tell you about that in a moment. But I also want to remind you, I did get an email from Laura, and Laura apparently has some problems with her feet. I don't need a lot of detail, nor does she need to tell me, but all she needed to tell me was she's not old, and already the problems she's having with her feet are destroying her quality of life. So I told her to call Greenville Foot and Ankle. Greenville Foot and Ankle Specialist. They're right in the Smithfield Medical Center, Route 5 in Smithfield. 3 board certified podiatrists. Right there. That's right. Doctors, not some CCRI dropout trying to sell you expensive inserts. Doctors, they take all health insurance, all aspects of foot care, skin condition, bunions, hammer toe, digital x-ray. Greenville Foot and Ankle Specialist. If you're listening to me right now on this Monday, look how beautiful it is outside. And maybe you're saying, I wish I could go for a walk, but I can't because of fill in the blank. Plantar fasciitis, you have whatever it is. Call them, set up an appointment, sometimes same day appointment, 401-949-3220, 401-949-3220, Greenville Foot and Ankle Specialists. Right there in Smithfield. You can also find them online on Facebook, but also online at greenvillefootandAnkle.com. So last night, as we were doing Road Patrol Live, which we will be doing tonight, we did have the opportunity to speak to, he reached out to me, the owner of the home, where there was a home invasion in Cranston on Saturday. And the variety of different things that you heard. I want to be very clear. By all accounts, it's my understanding that that individual that we spoke to, and I think a roommate, were in their home on Saturday night doing whatever, sleeping, relaxing, eating, whatever someone does in their home on a Saturday night. When suddenly some intruders burst in through the door. And then there was an altercation. Now, that's a very serious crime. Cranston Police, if you haven't seen it, I have the mugshot with the video up on the website, depetro.com. But last night, so he sent me a message on one of our platforms, Instagram, and basically said, hey, who's this guy you interviewed? Blah, blah, blah. So when I was there, and it's something we're going to, I do frequently. I'm going to start to do more, though. There was this young guy. I said, how old are you? He said, I'm 18. My uncle's on the phone. He can tell you I'm 18. I have an ID that says I'm 18. I'm like, if you're 18 and you want to come on, all right, I'll do that. He's an adult. Showed me something, said he was 18. So whether or not he is, I mean, I'm not positive, but I saw 2006 on the ID. So anyhow, so the owner of the home contacts me based on that interview, of which we've posted on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. So anyhow, and he was fine, and he was giving what he thought had happened, even though I was then trying to correct him. But there was a gun found in the home, but apparently no shot was fired. But that was unknown. There were people bleeding. There were people in ambulances. There were people running from the scene. One suspect still on the loose. So, but what stuck out for those of you that heard it last night is the fact that this individual, he and his mother were essentially just blaming the police for everything. And, this is someone, okay, listen, people can post things on social media. He has a posting on social media where he's holding his arm out and there's dollar bills all on his arm. Almost like when you'd see the whole thing of remember the hot wieners and the guys doing like 10 all the way, and those guys put their arm out and then they're doing the mustard and the whole thing on it. And he has money like that. Now, again, is that against the law? No, of course it's not against the law. Did he commit a crime? I mean, that's not a crime. That is, when you post that you have that amount of money and, stacks of it, and it's on your arm and so forth, that is normally, not always, but normally people that are involved in the sale of illicit activity, illicit substances, behaves that way. And if you're going to do that and post those photos, again, you're not breaking any law. The platform allows it. I'm not suggesting that. However, you are certainly increasing the likelihood that someone may come upon that and say, wow, that's pretty interesting. He seems to have a lot of money on his arm. He seems to have a lot of cash in his room, and thus can lead to potentially a home invasion. I mean, it happens. Most of the time, from what I've learned on the home invasion, there's as the expression goes, folks, there's no honor among thieves. Now, not all the time, but many of the times there is. For instance, we had the situation, home invasion in Cranston, where the Ferrari was stolen at gunpoint. Now, from what we've learned, it sounds like a friend or former boyfriend of someone associated with the home may have inadvertently provided the code to get into the garage. It's possible, purposely or inadvertently. But now that is something, it's my understanding, the man was sleeping when suddenly these individuals came in. They wanted the Corvette in the Ferrari. Corvette was not there, was parked somewhere else. So they just took the Ferrari and then had the big chase, and then they were down in Florida. But many of these home invasions, you have someone who's involved many times in the drug trade, and they are going to purchase some illegal substances. And maybe it's a pretty fair amount, to the tune of they're handing over, I'm just going to go with the figure like $25,000, whatever it may be. They're going to show up with 25,000 cash. They go into, quote, the apartment or, the house. They count it out and they provide 25,000 and then they leave with whatever they're getting. Now, these people now have the money and these people now have the drugs they just purchased. Many times, the people that just purchased it, their plan is first we're going to get the illicit drugs, then we're going to do a home invasion and grab our money back. Happens very frequently. What do they know? They see maybe where did they get the drugs from? Maybe they're in a certain room. Maybe they're in the floorboards. Maybe they say, hey, can you change that? Maybe they see where they put the cash. They've been inside now. Sometimes they're the one that goes in, or other times they at least instruct their friends. Okay, in the living room, they keep the money here. In a back bedroom, that's where they keep whatever it is. They now have a layout. So they think, okay, first we're going to put the money up, but we're going to get the money back. And we're going to get the money and the drugs. And they're not going to know we did it. Many times things can go wrong. Many times the money is gone by the time they get back there. There's a lot of bad things that happen from people planning that scenario. I've heard of a scenario, someone borrowed 25,000. I just need it for like a day, and then I'm going to give it to you back because they think they're going to steal it back. Instead, they hand the money over, and then who gets it, they're out of there. So now the people go back, and they think they're going to steal the 25,000 back, and the people are gone. The problem is they still owe that guy 25K. Or there's a gun battle. Many of the people inside the home keep weapons. Sometimes there's all different scenarios, but my point is it's normally targeted most of the time. I'm going to say high 90s. Therefore, if you live in the city of Cranston, as many people do, and they're asking me, what you need to know is I don't think you should worry. I do think it's targeted. And no, I don't think if you're just going about your business, living your life, that you have anything to worry about. Now, folks, this portion of the program, I want to remind you, if you're listening or watching and you're thinking of a new kitchen or bath, Dream Maker, they are so terrific. Dennis and Christina, they have the beautiful design center on Greenwich Avenue in Warwick, right near Kochai. They're actually right next to Kochai and right near Crown Plaza. Dream Maker. Call them 401-433-7272. 401-433-7272. Dream Maker Bath and Kitchen. Concept of completion, respect, integrity, and customer focus. Dream Maker. Experience upgraded living with your bath or kitchen remodel today. Again, on this Monday, if you are thinking of having your kitchen redone or bathroom, contact Dream Maker today. Put them into the mix. 401-433-7272. I share their Facebook page. It's Dream Maker. So, folks, 1:35. Again, this is the Road Patrol Report on AM 1380, 99.9 FM. Now, we are also live on YouTube, on Facebook, on X. Yes, we will be doing Road Patrol Live later. Definitely in all week, actually. The weather looks good, and we plan to be active all week. So Friday night, you had a situation where we were at a standoff in Cranston. Seemed to be a language barrier. Just so we're clear, hey, because already someone's like, can you take that video down? Well, here's why I'm not going to take it down. First of all, we don't take down any videos. Why we're not going to take it down is what were we showing? We were showing that it was Friday night, and Cranston police surrounded a house, and they were and they had guns drawn and guns out and high-powered weapons, and they were instructing the people in the house to come out of the house one at a time with their hands up. That's an unusual situation. That does not happen every day. So and by the way, by me videoing that, I didn't. I'm not. We're not passing judgment. I'm not saying what we don't didn't exactly know. It did seem to be tied to a traffic stop on what avenue, but maybe I shouldn't be surprised when people. I mean, that's different. And here's the thing: you have a right as citizens. You have a right to know problem houses in your neighborhood, problem streets in your cities or towns. Not everyone wants to know about that. Think of before there was the sex offender notification, they would just move around. People didn't know that they were in their yard, in the neighborhood, down the street, a lot of different things. We have that. If people know there's a problem or potentially a problem, maybe they, take different precautions uh, to guard against that. So I understand after the fact that it's probably not the most flattering thing to have video of themselves or whoever being filmed in that manner. But it's allowable. We're certainly not breaking any laws. Stand on the street. Um, I would argue people need to be on guard about some of the activity that's going on. Now, as many of you know, we are on the verge of trying to obtain video of some of those Venezuelan gangs that have tragically made their way into Rhode Island. And what the rest of the media doesn't want to talk about, what our elected officials don't want to talk about, is you become a mark. And I said at the time, and I repeatedly believe this, Governor McKee making the decision, I can't wait to sign into legislation driving licenses that look exactly like our licenses. Signing that into law, that was a game changer. That was a game changer for the state in a negative way because you're putting out the welcome mat. You are essentially just encouraging people to come in here. I want to be to come into the state, and but I'm just looking at the headlines. Cranston police investigating home invasion. Man arrested for alleged assault, threats to kill mother. Like, what exactly is going on? This morning, we had the standoff in West Warwick. People have to get a grip. I'm not saying that the Governor McKee is not big on law and order. Governor McKee he's big on chaos. He sets up a lawless atmosphere. And as a result of that, we're all in danger. Now, I'm looking at Channel 12 right now. Home invasion suspect was armed with a machete. So he was in court. Channel 12 has on the head of their website right now, home invasion suspect was armed with a machete. Now, for those of you that watch Road Patrol Live, when was the first time you heard about the machete? It was last night. I even said it to the homeowner. So, and I get that not everyone understands that. I had the information last night. I had it yesterday, actually. Actually, I had it that night as I was talking with some of the neighbors. One of the neighbors said, I think the guy went in there with a machete, and he did. So, an 18-year-old accused of breaking with a weapon, 4 felony charges, Pen Grove, 4 people inside the home, armed with a machete, injured 1 person. They're still searching for the other suspect. Family members who attended the arraignment said he just turned 18, believe he's a good kid who made a mistake, being held without bail. Boy, the ACI is now, the inmates have got to be celebrating. It's just one young 18, 19-year-old kid after another. Christmas has come early to the ACI. Do you have any idea what happens to young men may encounter people that are in there for a long time. When you have a guy that's behind bars that says, it's going to be a really long time before I have contact with a female, or ever. 18, 19, maybe the closest thing. Channel 10, police incident in West Warwick and safely. That's interesting. Numerous police units gathered, came to a safe end. Okay, now I know they're reporting it, except I'm about to post video of the medical examiner was brought in and they took a body out. So I don't know what they're talking about. So I don't understand what Channel 10 is talking about with ended safely if you consider a dead body being taken out. Cranston man accused in home invasion incident held without bail. There he is. What a goon. Jaden Bourgeois. A machete and conspiracy. Listen, he's going to do time. 100% is going to do time. No one is going to I know, and some people already posted, oh, he'll be out. That's nothing. He'll be out 2 hours. Being held without bail. And the Ferrari kids were held without bail. So it's not a joke like that. Folks, again, this is the Road Patrol report. What I want to stress to you is it all depends on when you want the information. When you want the information. For people that say, well, I like to get news and find out as soon as it's happening. Well, then, that's what we provide. Again, I'm just in part of what I do is to point out to you, like it's the ultimate, what do you bring to the table? And something that we bring to the table is you get news live, on scene, unscripted, and you learn more about what happened much sooner than the rest of the population. There are some people, by the way, that say, I don't want that. I want to find out when everybody else finds out. Well, then that's totally fine. No one's forcing you. But if you did watch last night, when we did speak with the owner of the home and his mother blaming the police, which is ludicrous to me, you would have, we said last night, I asked him about the machete. He seemed surprised. His neighbors heard. The neighbors heard some of the people talking that had been in the house. So let's not, come after the chosen one. Folks, now speaking of Cranston, I saw someone posted, can anyone recommend where I could get a good, reliable pre-owned vehicle? I have just the spot, Valari Motors. And I typed that to them on Facebook. Quality pre-owned vehicles, largest selection of Volvos in Rhode Island. Valari Motors. Where are they located? 1003 Park Avenue in Cranston, New England's #1 dealer in pre-owned Volvo sales and service. Great prices, great vehicles, great service. 1003 Park Avenue in Cranston. And remember, you deal directly with Paul Staskavich and Stephen, his mechanic, at Valari Motors. If you want a very good, safe, reliable vehicle, stop in and see Paul. A pre-owned Volvo, all it means is they broke it in for you. Think of when you go to an airport and you rent a car. How does it run for the couple of days a week that it runs fine? So, I don't know about you. Like right now, if you had a vehicle and so what? You're going to get a pre-owned vehicle that has 40,000 miles on it, or 50,000 miles on it. It's a Volvo, which is still considered the safest vehicle that you can drive. Plus, they have the mechanic right there at Valari Motors. I share their Facebook page. Stop in and see my friend Paul. Well, folks, good afternoon. You're listening. This is the John DePietro Show. This is Road Patrol Report. That's right. This week, we're going to experiment where we're going to be live doing this on the platforms from 1 to 2. Does that mean we're still going to be live at night? Of course. Now, if something breaks this afternoon, we'll be there. But if we look at just the events of the last couple of weeks, so we had the young 7-year-old girl that was tragically shot and killed. We had the mother of one of the shooters on Friday. Then you had the Cranston standoff on Tuesday. That resulted with the person who was deceased inside, but that was someone he shot at the police. Friday night, we had another Cranston standoff. Saturday, we had the home invasion. And I'm probably leaving some things out because there's so many different instances like this. So it's not your imagination. Now, here's the thing as far as Road Patrol Live. Depending on the outcome of the election, first of all, I think people are very anxious in not knowing what's going to happen. And people, there's an awful lot, there's a lot of people on prescription drugs. There's a lot of people on drugs. Things are very expensive. People can't get the type of housing that they want. We've had open borders. Well, there's 2 wars going on right now in the world. There's a lot of things that are just making people very unsettled. People do get very unsettled right leading up to before a presidential election. But as far as Road Patrol Live and what you should know, let's say if the Vice President Harris wins. Well, if Vice President Harris wins, the border is going to continue to be overflowing. The crime is going to continue to be pumped into the Northeast, especially Massachusetts, Rhode Island, New York. And so therefore, Road Patrol is, we're going to be, like right now we're going 7 nights a week because there's so much activity. I mean, if anything, it'll just continue to increase. Now, if President Trump wins, well, then you're going to have police feeling now someone has their back. Now they're going to take more of a stand. Now they have to fight back against the law and order. And if ICE feels now they're going to start to deport people, what you saw Friday night in Cranston of those seven people with their hands up at gunpoint coming out of the house, you're going to see that a lot because now with ICE and a Trump administration, they're going to start to deport some of these criminals that are coming here from these other countries. What you're seeing right now between the cartel violence, the Venezuelan gangs that are starting to come into our area, and they are ruthless, they are brutal, they think nothing of sending a message. They take someone's fingers, they'll take someone's eye, they'll take off, a foot, whatever. They are absolute savages. They will obviously kill someone. Many times they just want to send a message. They'll take body parts. You see them taking over properties, and where you're really going to start to see with the Venezuelan gangs is, as some people know or don't know, if you watch again, what I like about doing Road Patrol Live is you get to see live, unscreened, no filter, nothing edited. You get to see exactly in real time, like what's happening. Now, many times you see that I go into a public housing project, Salmon Street, Chad Brown, Wiggins Village, the one right on Cranston Street. There's numerous of them. Woonsocket has some, by the way. Pawtucket has some, but Providence has some. Hartford Avenue Housing Project. What you're going to start to see is some of these, whether it's the Venezuelan gangs or some of these other cartels, is they literally start to take over these parts of these housing projects. They take it over. And it becomes very, very difficult for the police in order to operate, solve crime. Governor McKee, with his policies, and to a degree, Governor Healy of Massachusetts, is setting up the state for a lot of these crimes. And you're already starting to see some hints of it. Just in North Kingstown a month ago, 4 masked individuals, they hit 3 or 5 businesses in one morning and then go speeding away. Those are gangs that are making inroads around here. And a problem that I have is the police can't be everywhere. The police can't do everything. We have a problem with liberal judges. We have a problem with liberal policies. We have a major problem at the Den of Thieves with the progressives, um, going after the police. One of the worst things ever done in Rhode Island is allowing these driving privileges, because, as I have told you, it makes the state more of a magnet. More illegals, more Venezuelan gang members, and more cartel members say, we're going to go get an ID in Rhode Island and operate that way. Governor McKee, it's not surprising to me the level of violence that we're starting to see. But the other thing you need to be concerned about is, if you've noticed, it's starting to spill more into the suburbs. There's definitely a notion around here that I find that people say, I don't care what goes on in Providence, Pawtucket, Central Falls. I don't go there. I don't care. Okay, you have the right to feel that way. The only problem is it's starting to spill out. It's starting to spill out into the suburbs. So, like that guy that went to Coventry and kidnapped that woman and then was trying to bury her in Smithfield. That was not a Providence, Pawtucket thing. That was Coventry, Smithfield. Hey, Saturday night, we were in Warwick. Somebody had a handgun in the parking lot at Target at Warwick Mall. And then, boom, they're right there. It's not good that it's starting to spread everywhere. And there's another component to this that I want to explain, but I want to remind you, if you're thinking of getting your driveway paved, folks, J. Perry Paving, call them today, 401-732-1730. Letter J, J. Perry Paving, 401-732-1730. Remember, free quote, get your driveway paved, get your parking lot paved, high quality, fair pricing, exceptional service, 20 years experience specializing in commercial paving, residential paving, free estimate. It's letter J, J. Perry Paving. Call right now. I do share their Facebook page, but call them at 401-732-1730, 401-732-1730, free estimate. And remember, no one is better with veterans than J. Perry Paving. They have a special package for veterans. So whether it's your dad or your mom or your grandfather, grandmother, son, brother-in-law, J. Perry Paving, 401-732-1730. Something else that no one wants to talk about, and that is a lot of the crime that is going on, and no one wants to talk about it, but it's a result of Rhode Island adopting these housing policies where you're forced with the low-income housing. And then suddenly there are pockets of cities and towns where all the crime is coming from the low-income housing. I mean, there was a time that you worked hard, save your money, and then you purchase a home in what's considered a nice neighborhood. And then your children go to a nice school. The problem is the progressive policy is, oh, no. We need low-income housing everywhere. And so thus, people that used to say, oh, we live in a safe neighborhood. We don't have to lock our door. Kids go to the school, no problem. Suddenly there's crime in the neighborhood. Suddenly there's problems at the school that they've never had before. There's a grocery store that I go to and I happen to know, and I actually played Little League with someone who's a manager there. And, you're chatting, how's it going and everything. And he said, boy, we've had the police into this grocery store. We've had the police in here like 20 times in the past month. Like 20 times in the past month? Yeah, all kinds of things. Why is it? He said, that low-income housing development just opened. All of them come in here, and it's all kinds of problems. There's a story in the Boston Globe Newton, Brookline, Cambridge. More parents are sending their kids to private schools. Do you know Rhode Island is one of the states listed where nationwide decline in public schools. Private school enrollment has surged in 5 states: Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Tennessee, Texas, and Washington. Folks, and in this story, by the way, in the Boston Globe, they say it's because of anxiety. They say it's because of COVID. They say all that. Think of that. The real reason is people are tired of the pronouns. People are tired of the agenda. It's not mentioned in the article. I mean, it is the Boston Globe. People are tired of, in North Kingstown, where they let kids identify as cats, where, in certain districts where they're pushing the kids into gender transformation. Certain Rhode Island public schools, you have an unhappy 12-year-old boy. What are the public school teachers, the teacher unions telling him? You'd probably be happier as a girl. Have you ever thought about converting? Have you ever thought about changing your gender? That is going on in Rhode Island, in Massachusetts, in the public schools. Don't worry, we won't tell your parents. You have girls that are unhappy. They're 11, 12, 13. Public school teachers. Have you ever considered you'd be happier as a boy? I can help you. We can start your transformation. That is going on in the Rhode Island public schools. The teachers' unions, they thrive on it. They brag about it. They consider it a badge of honor that they're helping with the diversity of the whole thing. And then people are surprised that more parents are opting to send their children to private schools. What is there to think about? Maybe they don't want that. I think one of the biggest disgraces is the Providence schools. They just cut the school day by a half hour. They were going from 2:00 to 2:40. Now they end at 2:00. So the charter schools in Providence go to 3:30. The traditional public school used to go till 2:40. Now you have Providence public schools end the day at 2:00. The charter schools end at 3:30. Think of that in the course of a week. Think of that in the course of a month. And think of that in the course of a year. Folks, again, I want to thank everybody for tuning in to the John DePietro Show. Coming up is going to be the 2:00 news. Yes, we're going to do Road Patrol Live later. All right, everyone, enjoy this beautiful Monday. Thank you, everybody, for listening and tuning in. We're back on the radio tomorrow at 11. We're doing Road Patrol Live later. Stay tuned for the 2:00 news.